Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Five Star Joshi Show here on the Fight Game Media Network, as well as the YouTube channel. I am your host, as always, Scott E, and we are live for another show, and a packed show at that. When it comes to Joshi, it just never stops. And that's why we have a weekly podcast after all. What are we going to talk about today? You may be asking. Well, there's a lot. We'll be going over Stardom's KORAKUEN Hall show from Wednesday, a batch of great Marigold house shows from last weekend. Sareee-ISM Chapter 8 is coming here soon, so we'll be talking about that card and those announcements. We'll also be taking a look at the Hana Kimura Memorial Show, which will have taken place by the time you have listened to this. But I also want to use this opportunity to once again pay respects to Hana Kimura. If you have followed this show or me for any amount of time, you have known that I want to do my part, even if it's a small part, in sharing her greatness and, you know, keeping her legacy alive just by speaking about her and celebrating her. Um, Through the years with this podcast, I have done some really cool things to celebrate her, have guests on to talk about, stories of watching Hana, and I'm really proud of that. I wrote articles about her, her matches and such, and ultimately, at the end of the day, I just want to do my best every year, especially um, as this episode comes out. It'll be 5 years since her passing. I want to do our best to pay tribute and again talk about a life that should always be celebrated. So we will definitely get to that as well. But let's get to our normally scheduled programming first, starting with this. Actually, I wanted to thank Marigold for allowing me to do my latest interview with Mirai ahead of her Marigold World Championship match this Saturday at Shine Forever 2025 against Utami Hayashishita. Um, Unbelievably real was Mirai. She was super honest, super open, super insightful, and truly one of my favorite interviews I've gotten to do. Um, just looking at her mindset and the amount she loves wrestling and the amount she loves the promotion she is trying to build, it's hard not to want to root for her. I have long been the Mirai fan, as you know, on this podcast. So getting to talk with her, getting to do this interview was a really cool thing for me. So if you haven't checked it out, go over to Fightful.com. It is there. I'll also be making a post on the YouTube. So if you haven't seen it, I'll make sure I make that post by the time you are hearing this. So you do check it out. But I just want to thank Marigold. I want to thank Mirai for getting this one to happen. Very, very, very cool interview. And it's all because of her. It's all because of her responses. So greatly appreciate that. But like I said, we always start our weeks off, of course, with Stardom. So let's do that. So Stardom was doing their thing as per usual, following the Sayaka Karara, Saya Kamitani KORAKUEN in lead up to another KORAKUEN, this time the Stardom Nighter in KORAKUEN, which was, if I remember, the Wednesday night second one, Wonder of Stardom Championship. We had two rookies debut, which I'm very excited to talk about. And overall, I thought the show, for again a Wednesday show, did its job. I don't think there are any real complaints here from me for what the show was, but we'll quickly go over the result of the shows over the weekend and anything that stood out to me, because Stardom house shows are what they are. You check them out, you see what little little stories, what little things to take from them, and I definitely think this past weekend had something to take. In terms of one wrestler who we talked about a lot last week, not Saya Kamitani. But I think that that will be the interesting conversation point is, are they going with this wrestler? And I also think it is worth not talking about Natsupoi as well, who revealed this week that she declined a final match with Tam Nakano. I think that's very notable because she was someone who I had felt was kind of missing from that final road with Tam, right? You had the OG Cosmic Angels dance, you had the singles match with Sarah Ano, you had like one or two Mel tier matches, but honestly, considering how much time they've spent together over the past couple of years, you would have expected more with Natsupoi, but that was not the case. She admitted that, but she also admitted she would like to lead Stardom forward. And with Natsupoi, I think it's such a clear, obvious option as someone you go with for the immediate future rather than the long term because again she still has that connection to Tam. She's, as far as I'm concerned, the most popular cosmic angel that's currently in that faction and an obvious person to face Saya Kamitani to try and redeem her, being Tam Nakano against her. So just wanted to bring up that, but let's get to the house shows here real quick. Obviously, it's always notable, I think, when FWC is teaming with someone, because of course FWC now on their own, now figuring things out as a duo and nothing more. But they did team with Suzuki over the weekend, so again, a notable thing there. So they were at Nagano on Saturday. Here are your results from the show. Yuna Mizumori defeated Yuri Hime. Heita Tsusanaba Natsuko Tora Saya Kamitani defeated the team up of Ayasakura, Natsupoi Seriano, as well as the team up of Hina, Rana Yagami, and Tomoki Inaba. 8 minutes and 1 second. I thought this match was quite fun. It was a lot of people all at once. But I did find the match to be an enjoyable one. Um, the only critique is you would have liked it to go further. You would have liked it to go longer. But like I said, it was a fun match. Raka defeated Akira Kuragane in 10 minutes and 8 seconds. Lady C, Saki Kashima, and Shuri defeated Hanan, Momokogo, and Saya Ida. Hazuki, Koguma, and Suzuki won. They defeated Rina, Konami, and Fukigen Death. And in your main event, Mei Sara, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid defeated Hanako, Rion, and Waka Tsukiyama as part of the previews for that championship match. I think overall in the lead up to Kid and Hanako, um, they did a solid job. And I also noticed, which we'll get to when we talk about the KORAKUEN, Starlight Kid is seemingly getting back to full health, which is very exciting. Because, like I said just a month or two ago, at one point she was leading comfortably my Wrestler of the Year conversation. Things have changed. You know, her injury did derail her a little bit, but she's still comfortably in that conversation alongside Saya Kamitani when it comes to the Stardom side of things. So, based on her match with Hanako, which we'll talk about here in a second, looks like we're back on track with Starlight Kid being an MVP for this company. And then we had a show on Sunday in Toyama. This show, again, was more notable to me because of the main event and how the main event ended. So, first up, you had Lady C, Rana Yagami, Tomoki Inaba representing God's Eye and getting the win against Aya Sakura, Sayaka Karada, and Yuna Mizumori. Waka Tsukiyama defeated Fukigen Death in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. You had Hina, Saki Kashima, and Shuri defeating Natsupoi, Seriano, and Rion. Konami, Rina, and Ruaka, who of course would be challenging soon for the Artists of Stardom Championships. We'll get there in a second. They defeated Mi Vida Locas, Suzuki, and Akira Kuragane, who were teamed up with Yuria Hime. Hazuki, Koguma, and Hanako defeated Mei Sara, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid. This saw Hanako get the winning fall over Starlight Kid to get that momentum, a custom, of course, in the lead up to these big time Stardom title matches. And then in the main event, it was Azusa Naba, Natsuko Tora, and Saya Kamitani defeating stars Hanan, Momokogo, and Saida when Saya Kamitani pinned Hana. I find this notable. I don't know how many others may, but of course, with Saya Kamitani's comments that I talked about last week of highlighting Hanan as the babyface to follow and then having her, actually pin her in a main event match. I know it's just a house show, but a main event match I find notable. I feel like this might be our start to a long-term goal of a big match between these two. And that is the right choice if so. I can't stress enough how much I do believe in Hanan, how much I do believe in what she brings to the table. So her and Saya Kamitani had good chemistry in this match. It was a fun main event, but that was notable. Pinning her. You could have pinned Momokogo. You could have pinned Ida easily, but instead she pins Hanan, who is, of course, now the leader of Stars. But let's get to that Korakuen Hall show, shall we? The Korakuen Hall show, man. You look at the card, it's kind of whatever. In the middle of the card, it's really 2 matches at the beginning, 2 matches at the end that at least I think jumped off the page because, of course, you had the debut of Emma Maishima in the opening match against Azumi, which was always fun. Again, it's always fun to get these debuts because the beauty of Joshi wrestling right now is you are adding new talent, what seems to be on a monthly basis, whether it be Stardom, Marigold, TJPW, the Independency. There is a rookie seemingly joining every month. And not only just a rookie, but rookies that seemingly have a ton of potential. And I will say this right now, right here, Emma Maishima, I think is going to be very, very good. Um, if you were to bet on Stardom rookies from the past year, these two, I think, have jumped to the front of the line. Obviously, love Matoe Hamabe. Would love to see her back sooner rather than later. Love Ane Kanaya. She's fantastic. Would love to see her back. Yuri Hime is really growing. Akira Kuragane is really growing. I guess these are all the past couple months I'm more so talking about, maybe not the past year. But these two, starting with Maishima, have something. They have a vibe about them. Talk about vibes. We'll talk about that in a second. But Maishima came into this match with Azumi, someone who she said she took notice of when she fell in love with wrestling through Dragon Gate and so on. And she got to wrestle her in her debut match, which was really, really cool. Yeah, this match was quite good. Rookie debut matches, you don't expect, again, you're not looking for this match of the year or anything. But you're looking for it to start off on a good note, right? You want a career to start strong. And for Maishima, I think that's exactly what happened. I think she has potential. You saw strong drop kicks, you saw springboard moves, you saw Hurricanrana, you just saw a very, very capable wrestler who, mind you, looked petrified going to the ring, but once she got in the ring, it was different. It was different. There was a lot of confidence there. There was a change there. I loved it. I really did. Um, I loved what she did. I love what Azumi was willing to bring to the table for her, and I find that very important. Azumi did a great job at leading her in her first match, and now this is going to be kind of one of the exciting parts of the upcoming Stardom shows is watching Maishima blend in and see how much of this match was just, a first match type thing or how much she can grow upon this. So I'm very excited about her. And I'm also very excited about Kikyou Furusawa. Um for Furusawa. I apologize. So her name is spelled Kikyou. They did have it as Kikyo. So I don't know. I'm unsure which is officially the correct spelling. I think they've spelled it both ways. Nonetheless, and we'll learn it in due time. I'll keep an eye out. But what I will say is that Furusawa is a star in the making. There was just a confidence, a vibe. The entrance music was awesome. Kick you, kick. I think that's how they pronounced it. This is a star. This is a star. I think both her and Emma brought such different vibes, but exciting ones. The punk rock esque gear for her was exciting. There was, an obvious connection, I thought right off the bat to like a Suzuki if you want to look for potential factions here. And I think another thing is, I don't know what this wrestler's style is going to be. They could say one thing and then do another. Technical excitement here. Like her and Hanan were going and she was just doing things that like I hilariously said to myself, "Wow, she's already better than Zack Sabre Jr." Sorry if you're a Zack Sabre Jr. fan. But in all seriousness, like super, super crisp movement in some of these moves. Um, and just an overall excitement level. The crowd was behind her as you want with both rookies. And Hanan did a great job. Again, we want to talk about a great job. This was a really fun match as well. I had them both on the same level in terms of impacts. Like these two are gonna be someone you want to follow. Plain and simple. You're gonna want to follow both of these rookies because I do think that they are rookies to pay attention to from now and moving forward. Furusawa, Maishima, great debuts. I think Furusawa, sorry, I'm gonna keep messing up over my words, so I apologize. Furusawa is someone who I think can be a real star. Emma, same goes for her. If you're looking to invest, looking to believe in some rookies, I think these two are well worth it. I just love what they did. Love what they did. And they were both so different from each other that I think that'll go a long way as well. But look at her. She's a beast. If you're on YouTube, I love the vibe. I love the vibe. So excited to see what both of these rookies do. Like I said, it's always great to get new rookies into the Joshi system. We then had Hazuki Koguma team up with Akira Kuragane and Yorihime to take on Hate. Sorry, not Hate. God's Eye, Kyoko Kotatsu, Rani Yagami, Saki Kashima, and Tomoka Inaba. With Kyoko Kotatsu, Rani Yagami, Saki Kashima, and Tomoka Inaba getting the victory. I don't really know what Kotatsu's schedule is. She has been back now for 3 matches. She's done only Korakuens and Queendom. Um, she doesn't do the house shows, so that's odd. Um, kind of just figuring that one out, but she looked good here as she has since joining Stardom. I'm fascinated to see what the direction is for FWC because there certainly isn't one right now. And I don't see them going for tag belts anytime soon. So I don't really know what they do. They feel like they're missing either being part of something or a leader. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they break up. Who knows? That would be upsetting. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, a fine match here. You then had Saida, Momokogo, Mei Sarah, and Miyu Amasaki. They all teamed up to face Saya Kamitani, Natsuko Tora, Azusa Naba, and Fukigen Death. It was shockingly, I think shocking, Miyu Amasaki taking the pin in this match. Because I find it shocking because she's a champion. Her and Mei Sarah are champions. I know Ida's a champion, but again, for the second show in a row, I'm like, well, Momokogo's there. You could pin her. But Amasaki took the pin in this match, and what I thought was also a solid match. No complaints here. You then had Hina, Lady C, and Shuri facing Aya Sakura, Sayaka Karara, and Yuna Mizumori. A really solid match. Listen, I think anytime you put Aya and Sayaka together, they just have an overall confidence with one another. And I think like someone like Sayaka Karara really shines well alongside her young Kozen tag partner. And with Aya Sakura, I mean, I don't know if I can praise more than I already do, but I think she's fantastic. And she really is like the future of this company. She is the top debutee of the past couple of years that I truly believe in, and I think sky's the limit. I think they gotta keep going with her because she's only getting better and better and better. We then had I just realized I never had that graphic. My apologies. We then had Natsuko and Sayano defeat Rion and Waka Tsukiyama. Not a big surprise there. These two are building towards their anniversary show, which is next weekend, and we'll preview that next week. So I have no problem keeping them connected to do these matches and so on. But I would like one of them to challenge Saya Kamitani, please. I'm waiting, but until that happens, we have to be patient. And then we had, again, get to the important matches. The Artists of Stardom Championship number one contendership match. It was Konami, Rina, and Ruaka facing Mivita Loka, Suzuki Aoki, Rina Yamashita, and Suzu Suzuki. And then they went to a double countout. I don't know why we got to do that. And listen, we're going to get the match on Saturday, three-way big time title match, and that's fine. But I'm always bummed by double countouts. There's just never a world I'm not, especially when there are stakes at hand. That feels like the only time we ever use the stipulation, or not the stipulation, but the result to begin with. That exact result. Oh, we have a stipulation. We have something important. Well, we can't lose, so we have them both lose. And then Suzu and Konami got counted out. So it was decided this Saturday in Osaka, it will be the Artist of Stardom Championships on the line as Miyu Amasaki, Starlight Kid, and Azumi defend against Mivita Loka's Suzuki, Itsuki Aoki, and Rina Yamashita, as well as Hates, Konami, Ruaka, and Arena. Mivita Loka's gotta be winning this, I would think, unless this is a way to have them in a title match while EXV still retains but doesn't pin them. I don't know. It's a very confusing combination. Mi Vita Loca is exciting for Suzu, but the problem, and I'll keep bringing this up, the problem is that Rina Yamashita and Suzuki Aoki are not always here. So it's hard to, I think, give them the momentum you want. Now, does an Artist of Stardom Championship win change that? Yes, it does. And if I had to make a pick, that would be the one. That would definitely be the one that I see her them getting the win to at least give them some fuel moving forward, which I do find important. So that is that. That's the only match we know for Stardom this weekend. So I'm not going to be able to preview much, but that is the one match, the big title match that there is to look forward to. So that's always cool. And then your championship match, the Wonder Star Championship on the line. Starlight Kid defending against HANAKO. Listen, I know exactly how I have been with Hanako, right? I have always consistently said, I need some more. I expect more. This is someone who is taller than everyone. This is someone who can be presented as this dominant powerhouse, and it's hard to figure that out when you are a rookie. I understand that, right? Because you have to lose a lot, you have to sell a lot. But as we've seen Hanako, we've been seeing her getting positioned into this spot, right? It's not a shock. It's not a shock that she got a Wonder of Stardom championship match. I don't think it is. So it came down to just the big match performance at the end of the day. And I know a lot of people have loved her stuff with Micah as part of Hi Mate. I was in and out. Some of it I thought was really good, some of it was whatever. But it didn't matter because if you deliver in your biggest match of your career, things can change. I've seen it so many times, and I'm going to give Hanako her credit here right now. This was the best match of her career. For as much of her performance as it was SLK, both of them deserve all the credit. This match was very good. This match was what you want, or let me rephrase, what Stardom wants this Wonder of Stardom title to be now, right? It's no longer maybe the 1B to the 1A that is the World of Stardom Championship. The World of Stardom Championship feels like it's on its own pedestal these days. But it's still a very strong number 2. It's still a title that I look at Starlight Kid treats as that, right? She treats it as that 1B. She wants it to be that 1A. So every match matters. And when you put these two in a Korakuen Hall show and you play to the size difference, right? A lot of the selling for this match in the lead up is Starlight Kid is not very tall and Hanako is. Like plain and simple, that was the story. Starlight Kid, like, you may be taller, but I will overcome you. I will successfully defend my title, and that is what she did. I thought Hanako, like I said, had the best performance of her career, and literally my only nitpick is the submission she does, like the hugging choke where the arm and that she's holding the arm and the head. Now she did do the swing around version, which I thought was pretty cool. But I just that submission, I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I also don't think Hanako needs to be a submission wrestler because I think Hanako showed she doesn't have to be with her closing stretch, including a nasty power bomb and the JP coaster. Like both of those moves are great. And as we saw in the final stretch, she was going for a last ride style power bomb. That is an ideal finisher for Hanako. Not that submission. No, not that at all. This, though, this was good. This was good. I was like, okay, you're going for another big powerbomb. Good, because the first one you hit was great. Starlight Kid, by the way, is such a fantastic wrestler that she was perfect, I think, to get Hanako to a very good match here. Like, again, I'm going to give Hanako so much credit, and I already have because she deserves it, but I do got to give Starlight Kid a lot of credit too. We've seen Hanako have singles matches and big matches with different great opponents, right? We've seen it with Chiro Hashimoto, for example. But Starlight Kid is such a perfect opponent because she can bump her butt off for Hanako and then come back around and so smartly craft the match where she can still win it. Um, destroying and decimating the leg of Hanako was the easiest and most reasonable strategy for such a match. And ultimately, I thought this accomplished exactly what you wanted it to. Hanako looked close, she could win. It's a level up for her, much like Sayaka Kurara was last week. Neither of them are main eventers yet. Neither of them are going to be locks in these divisions, but it's a sign of we're almost there. This was really, really good. Um, like I said, the best match of Hanako's career, the continuation of a run that Starlight Kid has been on, in bringing the Wonder of Stardom Championship fully back to where I remember it. She's having such a great run. I actually liked this match better than the Azumi match at Queendom. So maybe that gives you an idea of how good I thought it was. I think with Kid now, again, it's about keeping her healthy because if she's healthy, she's one of the best in the world. There was a reason she was my wrestler of the year really up until like April comfortably. She has now successfully defended the title against Rina, Konami, Azumi, and Hanako. 3 of those are first time challengers for the belt. That is doing the job of the title, and she has brought them all to great matches. The match with Rina, one of my favorites of the year. And now this one with Hanako. I'm fascinated to see who's next. I don't think there is anyone as obvious, but I don't think there needs to be anyone as obvious. Rather, instead, you know, I've been talking about with the World Stardom Championship, there needs to be someone that makes sense. For the Wonder, it's so much more open, right? If it was Azusa and Naba tomorrow, no one would bat an eye. That brings me to who I think it should be, though, and that's Tomoka and Naba. These two have been teasing a match for months now. It's a great match. It's a fantastic match. You put that on the conversion, no one bats an eye. It's a hell of a match to pair with whatever Saya Kamitani's doing on that show. If you don't want to pick Tomoki Naba, may I interest you in Hazuki? If you don't want to pick Hazuki, may I interest you in, I'd love to see May Sarah in there. I don't think they'll do that. Saida? Saida versus Starlight Kid? I mean, come on. Saida deserves a shot at this, right? She deserves a shot. But there's a lot of great options, and I'm excited for Starlight Kid because this was the best she's looked in a while. Not because she's been bad, but because she's very clearly been banged up. So this was really, really cool. Um, I walk away very happy with it as someone who obviously has been the lower side of Hanako. This was her best showing, and I hope for her she continues to grow from it. So, very good match, a fun Korakuen featuring the 2 rookie debuts as well. No complaints here. But that is it from the world of Stardom this week. Like I said, as of this recording, no cards are out for the weekend, so your guesses are as good as mine for those. Once they're out there, cool. But we will talk about the shows next week as we always do. So keep track on the Stardom socials for that one. Tomorrow, aka as of today, when you're hearing this, the Hana Kimura Memorial Show at Korakuen Hall has happened. The show is available on both Fight and I believe it's called Taiget in Japan. Both available on each of them to watch live. Once again, it is the most special show of the year. If you're listening to this and you didn't watch it, please go out of your way to buy it. The money goes to Kyoko Kimura. There's no one that deserves that more. And it's a really special show where all of Japan really come together and celebrate a life that was Hana Kimura's life. The card is really wonderful. It's so good. Not that the matches need to be this unbelievable set of matches or anything, but Kyoko always puts together something special. And this year, I already know the main event's gonna make me cry. I'm already starting to tear up. Um, so yeah, when talking and remembering Hana, someone who right as I was really getting into Joshi passed away, it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for so many other people because this is such a bright, beautiful light, beautiful soul that was gone far, too soon. Far too soon. And I wrote an article 2 years ago, for Wrestle Purists that's titled "Hana Kimura is the greatest of us all." And what I mean by that is that she was really the greatest. What she stood for, everyone is different, everyone is special. How she lived and how she performed, it was just so easy to get behind her. It was so easy to believe in her. Tokyo Cyber Squad was special because of the bond and what she had created. The One of the great moments in Stardom history is at that Stardom draft, that famous Stardom draft so many people talk about in 2019, where Rena was the last one there. Rena at the time was she 18 now? So 12, 13 years old. She was crying, and Hana said, pulls her in and says, "No, you can join me. You remind me of me." And that relationship has led us to what we saw this year, obviously, where Rena paid respect to Hana in her big Wonder of Stardom title match in every way, from the hair to the entrance to the moves themselves, and going for that Tiger Lily. I get emotional thinking about it now. The beauty of what Hana is that she will always be remembered and she will always be in wrestling. Um, as we know, Julia obviously has brought in a lot of what she has from Hana with her to WWE and through her years, obviously in Japan. But Rena embodies Hana in so many different ways, and it's surreal to watch. But it's why Rena is such a special wrestler. Is you know Hana, part of it was Hana. That is part of Rena, and we witness it every single match she has. We're gonna talk a little bit more here about the card, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Hana. But um, I like to tell this story every year because it's my favorite story I've ever been told in wrestling. Um, So, friend of the show, JPQ, shouts out to him. We told this once upon a time on this very podcast years ago, but I like to share it every year. He told me about how when Stardom came to America for their New York show in 2019, the lines were long for all the wrestlers, but none more than Hana's. After they had wrestled and their days were done, she made sure to spend every single second she could talking with each fan that got in line to see her. Genuine, taking photos, and enjoying every moment. Not only that, but she told fans who had hoped to meet their other favorites to get in her line to meet her. She wanted to meet everybody, and that's who she was. She left a legacy, a magic, and a light that will go on forever. Hana Kimura is the flower that will forever breathe life into so many in and out of pro wrestling. To people like Mercedes Moné, who debuted in New Japan wearing gear that was identical to Hana's Tokyo Cyber Squad look, thank you. You introduced Hana Kimura to more people you may have never known who she was before. That's just from my write up on Wrestle Purist. If you want to check that out, I'm going to link to it in the description just because it's an article I'm very proud of. It's not perfect, it's not heavily edited. It was a in the moment write up about her, and something I'm super happy that I've done. And I hope maybe it helps, shed some light on how special she was. Even to me, who didn't get to watch much of her at all in real time, but went back and watched her and just absolutely adored everything she did and how she wrestled. So here's your card for the fireworks. I believe the show is called Fireworks. the memorial show this time around. Your full card is as follows. You have Yuna versus Tehoma, Sego Tachibana versus Aja Kong. Your usual battle royale. Chiro Hashimoto and Shotaro Ashino teaming up to face Konami and Minoru Suzuki. Hell of a three-way tag here. You have Red Energy, Miyuki Takase, and Mika Wada facing Riwa, Ultima Powers, Dash Sasako, and Hiroyo Matsumoto, and then they're also facing Sareee and Natsupoi. And in your main event, it will be Rina going one-on-one with Benny. There is a few moments that I remember in my wrestling fandom more than when Rina first walked out on one of these shows and how emotional that was. Now she's main eventing the one 5 years after Hana's passing against her best friend, against Hana's best friend Venny. You know, this is gonna be it's gonna be very special. It's gonna be very special. These shows are always very special. Like I said, please, 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 please go out of your way to buy this show. Spend the $20, $25 that it is. It'll be worth it. Trust me, it's always worth it. You get a great show and you get an incredible tribute to someone who left us far, far, far too soon. Since we're here and since she's someone that I think deserves conversation at all times, I think the beauty of Hana as a wrestler is just her charisma spoke for itself. But as she was coming into her own, I feel like she was lifting up so many others at the same time. And again, she was 22 years old at the time. Um, her match with Julia was the one that I think really helped establish Julia in Stardom, for example. Tokyo Cyber Squad, like I said, was just a sensational group that so many people loved. Her, Jungle, and Konami obviously being the big three there. Um, and overall, as someone who, like I said, has gone back, you know, her time with Oedo Tai is obviously rightfully loved and appreciated because she was just so special. Um, and part of talking about Hana is the reality of what she would have been. It's hard to not to look at that. Just to take apart from what I wrote again 2 years ago. As I said to kick this all off, Hana Kimura is the greatest of us all. I say this because even after her life, she remains the greatest of what we all dream and hope to be. She was and always will be. Her spirit and her mindset to make everyone fit in is something this world so desperately needs. The love and care she showed to everyone, friend, fan, or stranger, is what made her one of a kind. She was going to be the biggest star in wrestling, let alone Stardom. When you watch Pinks on Tuesday, which was the show 2 years ago, or whenever you get able to get around to just sit there and notice how many wrestlers she touched by looking at the incredible talent who take part. So when you watch Fireworks, think the same. Add that to all the tributes, the love, and many other ways of celebrating her life that happens on these shows. I don't plan the in the past years I've planned out content, but mostly when we get to May 23rd, it's about celebrating the life more than anything. So, thank you to anyone listening, um, that has given me this time and this platform to have this little moment, and I ask you all to remember Hana on this day and every day because she truly was the greatest of us all. Now we head over to Marvelous. Marvelous has one heck of a week. One heck of a week. Sorry, trying to get myself back on track. I thought maybe I should have ended the show with that, but it's fine. It's fine. Um, Marvelous had one heck of a week though. They had a show in Shinkiba on Tuesday, featuring the crowning of new AAAW Tag Team Champions. Exciting matches being made in the future. And oh, of course, they officially joined Wrestle Universe. The what feels like long awaited moment for Marvelous has finally come true. And that was officially joining Wrestle Universe and becoming a company we can now see time and time and time again. Marvelous is in a surge point, obviously, through the Marigold feud, the debuts of Senka Akatsuki and Sora Ayame, and seemingly now Sareee being a key part of what they're doing. Um, yeah, everything is up for Marvelous. So we're gonna go over some results here. I was not able to see the show. It's not on Wrestle Universe yet. We don't know when that will come to be. Hopefully soon. But we will go over the things that have happened at this show, including Isuki Aoki defeating Amira in the opening match. Magenta's Maria Enrico Kawahara. So this was their first match in their new vibe. We don't have to count it as necessarily a heel turn. They're just having a good time, you know. But they defeated Johnny Robbie and Sadie Gibbs. Nanae Takahashi and Ai Hozan defeated Senga Akatsuki and Sorayame. The beauty of this match was Mio Momino, who had so badly wanted to be back for Nanae's retirement, wasn't able to get cleared in time, but she did get to have her moment in the ring with Nanae, and that those pictures alone filled me with joy, filled me with happiness. Like it's exactly what you want to see for a wrestler who very, very clearly wanted to have that moment. Um, it was awesome. It was really awesome. And I can't wait to see this match. I've only heard great things about it. And then in the main event, the AAAW Tag Team titles were on the line. Sareee and Takumi Aroha defeated Ryo Mizunami and Sonoko Kato to win the championships and become the new champions. I had said at the beginning of the year, folks, in my predictions, I predicted Sareee would win Tag Team Gold. Well, well, well. Here we are, and it has happened. And she has done it with Takumi Aroha, which, of course, has more news on that. But before we move on from Marvelous, Senka and Sora made the official challenge to the new champions. Magenta also wants in, so it feels like that'll be the back-to-back tag defenses for Sareee and Takumi, because the rookies will get the first crack, but we know that Magenta, part of their heel turn, or part of their turn, maybe not just heel turn, but part of their turn was because of the rookies, and they feel like the team to eventually take down Sareee and Takumi. So we'll wait for that. But speaking of Sareee, Sareee has done it again, folks. Am I shocked? No. Are you shocked? No. Sareee-ISM Chapter 8 will air live on Monday, July 14th from Shinjuku Face. We have 4 of the likely 5 match card, and boy, oh boy, does it pack a punch once again. The first match will be Sayaka Toyota, the niece of Manami Toyota, taking on Hanori Hana in the opening matchup. That should be a lot of fun. Then you have Dash Chisako versus Chi Chi. Give her the Booker of the Year already. Are you kidding me? Come on. Come on. This is what it's all about. Chi-Chi obviously coming back very, very soon on the first. She hasn't even come back yet, but Sareee already has her in a match with Dash Chisako because that's what it's all about, folks. Just less than 2 months until Sareeism is back in our lives. This match I am so hyped for. This was the match I saw. I was like, all right, this is great. This is a great card. Honestly, this card's probably top to bottom the most exciting they've had so far. We are missing a match, but It's awesome. It's awesome. In the semi-main event, it will be Natsupoi versus Miku Kane. This was a match that Sareee originally wanted to have on the last Sareee-ISM event, but due to injury, Natsupoi had to miss the match. Soriano filled in. Now we get to do it. This should be awesome. Should be awesome. Miku Kane is fantastic. One of the best young stars in all of Joshi, and it's Poi, guys. Like, it's Poi. And then your main event, Sareee teams with her tag team partner, her tag team championship partner, Takumi Iroha, to take on the team of Saya Kamitani and Natsuko Tora. Saree's a genius. You know that? Takumi's great, Natsuko's great, but this is about that first ever matchup. This is going to be the first time ever that Sareee and Saya Kamitani share the ring. Saya Kamitani, who, mind you, is well on her way to taking the Women's Pro Wrestling MVP award from Tokyo Sports this year. Saree's getting ahead of that. Oh, you want to get there? Okay, well, you're going to have to go through me type stuff. Sareee, obviously the reigning, defending winner of that award, wanted to make it 2 straight. Now she'll face Saya, and there's a chance by then this is IWGP Women's Champion versus World of Stardom Champion. So that's pretty exciting too. But I saw Saya on this graphic. I saw Sareee, and I said, "Yeah, all right, we're in. We're in." That's one of the bigger matchups you can have right now. So obviously very exciting. Sareee has done it again. July 14th, Shinjuku Face live. You're gonna want to see it, and if you're in Japan, you're gonna want to be there. I can't wait. She's just so good at this. She's just so good at this. Um, but let's close out the show now here with Marigold as we head off into the weekend. That is Shine Forever weekend. That is when I will do my first plug here. If you are interested on Saturday at 2 or 2:30, I haven't officially announced it yet. So keep track of my socials. I'll officially announce it on Friday at 2 or 2:30 Eastern. We'll be doing a Shine Forever 2025 live review right here on the YouTube channel. YouTube.com/@ScottEWrestling. It'll be our first live stream on the channel. Of course, we did the Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom one over on the Fight Game Media Network YouTube channel. We're going to bring the Marigold one here for our first live stream, see how that goes. Would love to have you all join me for that. It'll be a lot of fun. That for those who are wondering, who listen to the MP3 version, it will still be uploaded on the Fight Game Media Network feed. But if you want to see the video in real time, if you want to talk about it in real time, come over to the YouTube channel on Saturday. We'll be talking about it. I cannot wait. That brings me to the other point that the Shine Forever preview is up on YouTube, has been up on YouTube. But if you are on the MP3 version, if you're listening, don't you worry. We are closing out the show with that exact audio, MP3 only. So make sure to tune around. If you're on YouTube, go check it out. It's right there, ready to go. We talk about each and every match. We break it all down and hopefully get you pumped for what will be one of the most exciting shows of the year. We're going to do all those plugs again at the end. I just hope you know. So with that, let's get to the house show action from Marigold, including Mayu Iwatani's house show debuts. Boy, oh boy, was I waiting for this. I was so excited. You can, of course, I know you're shocked. I was so excited for the debut of Mayu Iwatani on house shows. Who could have seen that one coming? Man, it's just awesome. She's here. She's here and she's crushing it. Here are your results from the first show on Saturday. They had a 2-parter. First up, you had Kazuna Tanaka and Rhea Seto defeat Hummingbird and Natsumi Shizuki. Chan Yoda defeated Kimono Minami and Nagisa Tachibana. Misa Matsui And Nagisa Nozaki defeated Chika, Goto, and Yuki Minami. And then in a solid undercard match, you had Mai Sakurai and Miku Ano team up. They defeated Chiaki and Megaton. And then you had Nanae Takahashi one-on-one with Seri Yamaoka, the super rookie, versus her passion mother. Man, this was emotional. But what I will say is Seri Yamaoka continues to make leaps, continues to show she is a star in the making. She is less than 5 months into her pro wrestling career, and every passing match, every new match, she gets better and better. And with this match, she had the best singles match of her career. Nanae Takahashi did not hold back. Nanae Takahashi had a plan. She had a plan, and it was to make Seri show every bit of passion and everything she has learned from her mentor, who, of course, is herself. This match was awesome. It was. It really was. I I think when it comes to Nanae, she is so good at doing these passion injection matches. I've always loved them. And doing one with someone who obviously is so close to her was a interesting aspect, but it was a successful one at that. Suri debuted a new diving splash that I'm calling the passion splash. No one will stop me. She hit it perfectly. But she ultimately lost to the same move as Nanae hit her and pinned her. Listen, this was not a match that Suri Yamaoka should win. It's a building block, but it's also a farewell to the woman who has helped her in so many different ways, as she talked about this week with Tokyo Sports. I loved it. I loved it. I just think it's incredible how good Sareee Yamaoka is getting, and she's only scratching the surface so far. But let's talk about your main event, the double preview tag match. It was Utami Hayashishita and Victoria Yuzuki facing Mirai and Mayu Iwatani. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome. The match was awesome. Uh, Mayu and Yuzuki were so good together. Mirai and Utami were so good together. Doesn't really come as a shock, I know. I like Mirai and Mayu as a duo a lot. There's just a natural aspect to them. It's just the goofiness, but also the love for wrestling that combines them and brings them together. I thought they were fun as a tandem. I don't know how many more times we'll get them as a tandem, but I hope it wasn't the last. And Yuzuki and Utami, as far as I'm concerned, have been one of the best tag teams of the year this year. I think on my tag team of the year list, they're like third, just because they naturally are always together and they're naturally always having great matches. This was awesome. Mirai ended up pinning Utami after hitting the lefty lariat for the win. So that was a exclamation point heading into Shine Forever, where Mirai will challenge Utami for the world title. In terms of Mayu and Yuzuki, I think it's very clear. These two are going to crush it. This is the biggest match of Yuzuki's life. As she called it, the future versus the icon. That's what this match is. And if we're gonna base it off this right here, they could steal the show at Shine Forever. Truly believe that. Let's head now to the nightcap of this show, which was again in the same arena, but had a championship match. The opening match was Kamon Minami and Kazuna Tanaka and Victoria Yuzuki teaming up to defeat Hummingbird, Yuki Minami, and Nagisa Tachibana. You had Sareee Yamaoka and Rhea Seto defeating Megaton and Misa Matsui. Chanyota and Mikuano teamed up. They defeated Mirai, Natsumi, Shozuki. I thought this match was a lot of fun. Mirai and Chanyota were having a fun time in the early going. Mirai just kept doing the hitting the muscle pose and everything, and she was playing along, so they were fun together. Mikuano stays as strong as possible heading into her match with Nanae. That is going to be one to remember. We then had Mayu Iwatani's first chance at wrestling Marigold wrestlers. She faced Nanae. I've seen that before. She faced Tommy, Nizuki. Seen that before. This was new, though. New matchups, new excitement. Facing Darkness Revolution for the first time in Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki. This was a lot of fun. You could just tell Nozaki really likes working with Mayu, which I found to be enjoyable. You also could tell that Utami loves teaming with Mayu because these two have always been friends, have always got along. I think there's a great connection there. Chiaki did a really good job in this match as well. A super fun tag to further establish that Mayu is now here in Marigold and moving forward. She won the match with a moonsault on Chiaki, so she stays strong heading into her match with Victoria Izuki. And then in your main event, it was the United National Championship match. I think the best way to go here is that if this happened in Korakuen Hall, it'd probably be the best United National title match we've seen so far. Obviously, it didn't, but they still delivered. They still delivered a match to remember. Chika is a star, okay? She may not be the most natural wrestler. She may not be the most athletic wrestler or whatever. It doesn't really freaking matter. But what she does have is heart. And every match she has, you feel that heart and passion for pro wrestling. And in her biggest match, because this is her biggest match. We don't count the GHC one, right? We put that one to the side because of how that ended. In her biggest match, she stood up to Mai Sakurai, gave her everything she had, and came so close to winning. My biggest takeaway from this match was the moment Chika Goto does get that big singles title win, it's going to be a moment to remember for Marigold because she is just that wrestler you can so easily root for with the way she presents herself and her seriousness and her believability and, like I said, her care. But that's not to take anything away from Mai Sakurai, who continues to be an awesome champion. This was defense number 5, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the record for any title in Marigold. So she continues to build the resume heading into Shine Forever, where she doesn't defend the belt, but stays strong nonetheless. Really, really, really liked this match. Chika, having the bloodied face and she doesn't get, she's one that keeps on believing and keeps on pushing. And again, that's someone that fans are going to connect with. And when she gets her moment, because I do believe she will, it's going to be very, very special. Very good match. Well worth your time from that show. And then on Sunday, the final show ahead of Shine Forever, you had a 5-match card. Usually this is the match that, I just kind of say the result and we move on, but I can't. Kimono Minami defeated Nagisa Tachibana. Listen, this isn't your match of the year contender or anything more than that. Rather, it is a match that accomplishes a goal. It shows you the future possibilities for two wrestlers who are still rookies, who have dealt with injuries, and yet they have this match and they get people talking. Kimono Minami is becoming a real serious wrestler and one that you understand why there was hope there when she originally was part of the Aya Sakura Hanako class forever ago, and then of course disappeared from wrestling and has now come back with and debuted in Marigold, dealt with an injury, has come back and has been a different, more confident version of herself. And then you have Tachibana, who seemingly since her return has just skyrocketed in terms of potential. There is a lot that she has it. I don't know what it is, but she has it. It can be whatever you want it to be, but she has it. And there's an understanding to pro wrestling that she has. There's a believability, uh, and and maybe the best trait she has is she freaking hates losing. If you watch any of her promos, she hates losing, and I think that's someone you can get behind. These two had a really, really solid match, especially their experience level, one that you might skip. I think it's worth giving them a shot. I think they did a very good job and deserve your time. Next match, you had Yamaoka and Yuki Minami defeat Hummingbird and Rhea Seto. You also had Chenyota defeat Megaton one-on-one. Kazuna Tanaka, Victoria Yuzuki, Itami Hayashishita defeated Darkness Revolutions, Chiaki, Misa Matsui, and Nagisa Nozaki. And then in Nanae Takahashi's second to final match in Marigold, she teamed up with Mirai and Chika Goto to defeat Mai Sakurai, Natsumi Shozuki, and Miku Aono. I can't believe it's almost over. Admittedly, I'm gonna miss the hell out of Nanae. I really am. Just what she brought to this match. This match was so much fun, so well worth your time. It's a trios match. You know, it can be whatever, but it's 20 minutes of all six of them going all out for Nanae. There's a genuine love and care for Nanae from this roster. It's so very clear how much they're going to miss her, except for Miku Ano, who says she's going to put her into the ground. But yeah, I just think it was a home run of a weekend for Marigold. If you haven't been checking them out and you wanted to see, let me watch a show or two before I watch Shine Forever. This was the weekend to do just that. They're gonna miss Nanae a lot. I'm gonna miss Nanae a lot, but you're watching this roster grow in front of your eyes and show that they will be okay. They're gonna be okay. But hell of a trios match to end the tour. And like I said, this weekend is in fact Shine Forever. You can check out my preview on YouTube, or if you're on the podcast version, give it a few minutes. It's going to start playing, and you can hear the full preview. Here's the match rundown, just so you know. The match rundown is Shino versus Mai Sakurai, Shino's debut match. You have Chenyota, Arina Yamanaka, and Ryoko Sakamura, and Nagisa Tachibana teaming up. They'll face Darkness Revolution, Nagisa Nozaki, Chiaki, Misa Matsui, and Megaton. Koki Amari makes her return to pro wrestling. She'll team up with Kazuna Tanaka to take on Chika Goto and Yuki Minami. Natsumi Shozuki, Nao Shikawa, Hummingbird, Rhea Seto, and Kamoa Minami all team up to take on Marvelous, Riko Kawahara, Maria, Ai Hozan, Senka Katsuki, Sorayame in another important match of the feud. Then you have Sareee-Yamaoka going one-on-one with Takumi Aroha. Superfly Championship match, Victoria Yuzuki goes one-on-one with Mayu Iwatani. Marigold World Championship match, Utami Hayashishita defends against Mirai. And then in your main event, Final Passion, Nanae Takahashi officially retired from pro wrestling, and she will do so against Miku Aono. So, like I said, if you're here on the YouTube, go over, check out the video now. If you're on the MP3, give it a few minutes. It will start playing, I promise. And you can hear the full preview that I had a lot of fun doing. One last reminder, this Saturday at, we're going to say 2 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ScottEWrestling. We will be reviewing Shine Forever 2025, a glorious celebration. We will celebrate Nanae Takahashi's final match. We'll celebrate Utami versus Mirai. We'll celebrate Mayu versus Yuzuki, and so much more from that card. We'll have guests, we'll have people joining. It's going to be well worth your time. So make sure you're there. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to it. But like I said, if you are on the podcast version, wait just a minute. You can hear the full preview to Shine Forever. But if you're on YouTube, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for joining me this week. It's always a wonderful time to talk to you all. I love getting to do this podcast each and every week. I love getting to talk Joshi every single week. It means the world to me, and I hope you have enjoyed the show. Until next time, everyone, so long. See you later. Enjoy the weekend of great wrestling. And of course, passion.